Welcome to the Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of the Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to the Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life.
Over the years, we've talked about many concepts on the Miracle You podcast. One of them that I haven't talked too much about is truth. And it's a very interesting thing to look at and really dissect for yourself. We have our own truths. Each and every one of us has our truths. And in many ways, we hold those truths as important for the whole world, but we don't understand that everyone has their own truth. And one truth being right doesn't make another truth wrong. It just makes it different. Now, we might look at someone and say that they're not showing up in the world in the way that we think they should, but they may be showing up in the world in the way that they meant to in that moment. And we have to understand that we need to allow ourselves, first of all, to have our own truth, and then allow others to have theirs. And as we go through life, those truths are going to change. They're going to either expand or maybe they'll go away altogether and we'll choose a new truth. It's important to realize that you have that choice, that you can choose a belief system that supports you. You can choose a truth that supports you. And just because one truth is different than another, we have to stop judging the truths in others. And just by example, show them our truth and then let them choose theirs. I'm with RL Malpica today. RL is a conscious content creator, spiritual mentor, and creator founder of the conscious video streaming platform, Acacia Flix. His path has led him to mentoring and guiding those who are searching for their true purpose in life and finding their authentic self. Through inner work and the implementation of mindful habits, he helps individuals bridge the gap between a conditioned mind and oneness. His philosophy is that there are 4 pillars of enlightenment: breaking the conditioning, healthy terrain, oneness, and spirituality. RL Malpica, are you ready to share the miracle you with the imagination?
I am. I'm really excited.
I'm excited too. For those of you who have been listening to the podcast episodes, Deshaun Edwards, Chef Definition, is RL's partner in the Acacia Flix world, as well as their podcast, Minds Like Minds. And I couldn't wait to get both of them on. So now we get the second half. RL is going to share their world with us and really step into sharing some of the things that Imagine Miracles is all about, and all about the excitement of things that are yet to come for him in his work, plus bringing Chef Definition in also. So welcome, RL.
Thank you. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Before we dig into some of the deep work, would you mind sharing a little bit more about who you are right now, what you're doing, and how that's making a difference in the world?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, I'm kind of at the point where like I really understand my purpose in life and what I was put here to do. And with that, I've realized that like my skills as a conscious content creator, which is, everything from films and videos and podcasts, and utilizing that medium to spread light to the world, has really been the biggest transformation for me. So, everything kind of points towards Acacia Flix, which is my streaming service, where, we provide spiritual guided videos, podcasts, films, and content for anybody who's looking to understand their power, looking to level up in life, looking to learn to love themselves and grow, So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I know from our conversation on your podcast that life has taken you several different ways on the journey as you stepped into your spirituality and stepped into finding the purpose that you just shared with us, that you've uncovered. Could you share what was the, shall we say, the turning point, the wake up moment for you to step into doing this type of work?
For sure. And there's a few different levels, as I know, as, once you kind of find that awakening moment, it just continues to grow. And I think we continue to grow until we're not in this lifetime. But for me, it started off, honestly, the first thing was I got my heart broken. I got my heart broken, and it made me look at life in a different way. And, I didn't have a lot of self-worth. I didn't have a lot of love for myself. And basically all the love that I had and all the energy that I had was attached to that individual. And once that individual, told me they didn't want to be in my life anymore, it was devastating, at the time. And I went through a tough, depressed stage in my life. And I met, I shouldn't say I met, but I was working with this other woman, and she saw what I was going through, and she handed me a book. She said, "Hey, you should give this a read." And I wasn't a big reader at the time either. But I said, you know what? I'll take it. I'll look at it. And it was The Secret by Rhonda Burns. And it resonated with me beyond measure. I mean, I read the book in 2 days, and it just completely changed my outlook on life and really showed me the true power that I had. And from that moment on, that's where my, like I said, my outlook changed, my perspective changed. And that was step one. Step two, I got to give a lot of credit to Deshaun, because he would challenge me. I was a very deep Christian and very deep in the doctrine. And he would challenge me. He would ask me questions that I didn't have answers to. And it kind of pushed me to explore that there was a world outside of Christianity. And I didn't realize that. And, through that exploration, I learned so much about what is perceived as truth. And also I learned so much about myself, because I was able to take that information, absorb it really quick, and utilize it in what I did. And then I think the third thing was my daughter. And this was roughly at the same time as Deshaun challenging me. My daughter let me know that she was bisexual, and anybody in the Christian community will let you know that that's a big no-no. So it had me question that as well. So you add all those things together, and I just realized that I've been indoctrinated, I've been conditioned, I've been programmed, and I've never really truly understood my power. And that was kind of the launching point. I yearned for more information, and to this day, I continue to read and try to absorb as much as I can and help spread, not necessarily just truth, but spread the idea of finding your own truth, of not necessarily following what the authority figures in this world and society tell you to do, but doing your own due diligence and being able to be open-minded enough to make those decisions for yourself.
Wow, you've created so many opportunities for me to ask questions here.
I bet.
That, it's very interesting. As soon as you said The Secret, I wanted to talk to you about that. But yeah. I think the chef sharing the challenging questions with you and getting you to open your mind is where I would love to go first. Mm-hmm. When he shared those challenges with you, and you just read a book, or you read a book a little while earlier that talks to you about attracting things into your life. That was really opening the door for the first time as you being the creator of your reality and responsible for everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he has been in your life for many, many years. How did that relationship allow you to open your mind faster?
Well, I always, he's a few years older than me, and I met him in college, and I graduated somewhat early, so I was 17 years old, and he was like 23. So and he just has this level of wisdom within him that I've always respected. So in a way, like when he would say something, even though, me having a competitive nature, I would always, debate with him and try to, prolong those conversations. I would take the things he said to heart and really investigate. And I think that's what it was. It's like in that, in that, in that motivation of trying to answer a lot of the questions he had for me, it helped me uncover what my particular truth was, and helped me realize that what I've been indoctrinated by, is holding me back from being who I truly am.
So when he asked you these questions, was it all internal work, or was there external work involved with you? First of all, answering the questions and then looking at the concepts and saying, okay, well, maybe this concept is more in alignment with who I am, or more in alignment with what the world should look like. How did that happen?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because to dive deeper into these questions that he was asking me, it had nothing to do with spirituality. It was all about, I won't say anti, but like challenging everything in the Christian doctrine are the questions he'd ask me. Just different questions about Christianity and how can you believe this if this, and this happened, and things of that nature, which put me on a path of reading stuff outside the Christian bubble, picking up books from the East and even Africa, and just different perspectives from around the world and throughout history that were outside of the Christian bubble, which helped me uncover that there's a bigger truth out there than what I've been indoctrinated with. So it was never anything spiritual. That came as a result of me branching out and reading all these different this different literature and watching different videos and movies and things of that nature. But Deshaun's questions about Christianity was the catalyst of all of it.
And in that experience for you, was there times that you had to choose between a belief that was older but felt right for you, and a belief that might be newer and didn't feel quite right?
The toughest part of it was really, and I'm going to try to not take this too far to the left, and I might have talked to you about this on my podcast, my journey with my wife. When I was dating my wife, I was deep in the Christian doctrine, and she was not. She was about everything else. She was into crystal healing, and she knew a lot about Wiccan and a lot of different elements of spirituality. And I basically, being indoctrinated, kind of gave her an ultimatum, like, hey, if you want this to go further, I need you to come to the Christian side. And my wife, being who she is, she did. And so she sacrificed all that to become a full devout Christian. And then a couple of years later, I go off on my path and realize that's not what I want to be. That's not what I'm about. And had to break that news in a way to her that, I know you just sacrificed all these couple of years for me, but I was wrong, and I had to admit that. So a lot of pride and whatnot came into that as well. So I think that, roundabout way kind of answers your question. It wasn't easy to drop something that you kind of followed for 3 decades, but you know, the information was glaring, and, you know, it's the best decision I've made. And it wasn't easy at first with my wife, but she's all on board and she's on her own journey. So it's a beautiful thing.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, and for sharing it in that way. Hey, did you find out on the journey at all how, first of all, how similar the religions are if you move past the doctrine,
Right.
and in your spirituality, is there still big parts of Christianity that you hold in your belief system?
Oh, I'll start with the first one. So I took a course in college called, I think it was the History of Religions or World Religions or something. And um, where we basically went through most of the major religions, studied them, had to write about them, learn about them. And that right there really sparked my interest in religions around the world. Not to mention, I grew up, while I was baptized Catholic, was raised by a nanny who was Lutheran, and my stepfather was Muslim. So I've been around different cultures. So I've kind of seen how you know, different cultures do things, their belief systems, all of that. And I just had such an interest in it. To this day, I have an interest in it. And then I discovered something called syncretism. And I don't know if you've heard of that before, but syncretism basically connects all religions and all philosophies and all myths to one basic, quote unquote, holy science. And while I won't necessarily call myself a syncretist because I don't like labels, a lot of it answers a lot of those questions, because everything is connected. When you really start to put things side by side and see even scripture, you know, side by side, and really decipher it and see, okay, they're all saying the same thing. It's just coded in different ways. So yes, and yes, I do see the similarities and connections and everything, and that's what I try to profess. In fact, on Akasha Flicks, we have Joanna Crowder, who's got a PhD in metaphysics and philosophy, who does a masterclass on syncretism and shows you how everything's synced together, including, you know, including astrology mixed in with it as well. Your second question, which after talking so much, I kind of forgot. So can you tell me? Sorry.
You really kind of answered it in the first answer. The understanding and seeing the differences. I ask, is there a lot of things that you hold on to still from your background?
No, because here's the thing, and you get a lot of, and it's not to call anybody out. I mean, if Christianity is your way, you know, whatever helps you be the best version of yourself, I'm all for, right? But for me, like everything from a Christian perspective or a Christian doctrine, you know, the good things are basic humanistic principles. So I don't attach that to Christianity. I attach that to our natural humanity, right? And then everything else is not good. To me, it is conditioning. It is programming. There are elements of it that are basically used to control, right? To control people of the time, and still to this day. Now, I'm not saying that's what the quote unquote Bible was originally intended, but that's how it has been utilized. So no, I really don't. Honestly, I detach myself from it for a multitude of reasons. But yeah, the good things about it, that's basic humanistic stuff.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, and
sure.
and being open and willing to share it in the way that you did.
100% transparent here, man.
I appreciate that so much. Let me ask you, what is your definition of truth?
Ooh, that's a great question. Ooh, definition of truth. Ooh, truth to me is a personal thing. Because I think my truth might not be your truth, and your truth might not be the next person's truth. But I think truth can only come from your perspective and your perception, meaning I don't think there's anybody else that can tell you what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? And I think we live in a world that tries to tell us constantly what truth is. So I think truth is your own individual consensus on, whatever your awareness is attached to. If it's truth about, the creator, or truth about yourself, or truth about whatever the case may be, it all starts with you. And that's why, like I said, I think everybody's truth can be different and still be the truth, because at the end of the day, who's the overlying individual or person or entity that's going to ultimately say, no, this is truth? No, there isn't. That's why the truth is yours and nobody else's.
What do you say to people who get wrapped up in, I have my truth and this person doesn't believe in my truth, so they're wrong? And if they're contradicted and said, well, no, that's his truth, so for him it's right, then they feel that they're wrong. What do you say to those people?
What I would say to that individual or those individuals is, because I deal with this a lot, I would say that, to truly be open-minded or be a free thinker, you have to be able to absorb information from others and stay constant and stay neutral. Because the minute you start looking at other people's truth as untrue, or telling them it's untrue, or forcing your truth on other people, well, then all of a sudden, now it becomes a who's right or who's wrong situation, right? And I think we see a lot, that's why there's so much division in this world, is because we can't take an opinion or an idea or a philosophy or a theory or somebody else's truth into consideration, because we're always constantly trying to defend our own, right? And that's not what it's about. The way we grow, the way we learn, the way we ultimately all level up as a conscious community is by learning from others. Like, your truth's going to be different than mine in a lot of different aspects, but we can have a conversation and I'll learn so much just from your truth, and you'll learn so much from my truth, that we both walk away better for it, because now we got additional perspective. I think people need to realize, and this is the subject of a book that I'm going to be writing soon, about theories. Most of life is based off of theories, and theories are not fact, right? So theories are an accumulation of information and experiments and consensus that people have come up with based on certain aspects of life, but they're theories. That means they can be questioned. And it's good that they can be questioned, because that's how we come up with better theories. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say is, I definitely advise people to be open-minded in every aspect of life.
When you share that we learn from other people's truths and they learn from ours, and we come to a place where something might feel better to us, and
Right.
we might be enlightened by it, or we might not be enlightened by their truth, but the opportunity for us to examine what we believe, what our truth is in that moment, might change. One of the things that I share, and I would love for you to comment on it, one of the things I share is when I was going through my process, I got to a place that I said I was willing to try everything and listen to everything and then choose if it was my way or not. How do you feel about that?
I think that's amazing, and I think everybody should do that. That's your humanistic right. That's your sovereign right to be able to choose. I mean, that's what separates us from the animals in a way. Like, we have the option to choose, and if more of us would do that, I think we'd be in a much better place. I mean, honestly.
So as you went through your process of learning, growing, changing, kind of forced in some ways, like you said, the wake up calls of a breakup, the wake up calls of your daughter, chef asking the tough questions, you moved into a philosophy of the 4 pillars of enlightenment. Could you describe those for us, and really what each one of them and how they go together?
Yeah, for sure. My 4 pillars of enlightenment, starts with breaking your conditioning. And we've all been conditioned. There's not a person on this planet that has not been conditioned in one form or fashion. But that starts with acknowledging it. Can you acknowledge that you've been conditioned? And I think that's the most important step. And once you realize that, it just opens your mind to so much more, and ultimately opens your mind to the power that you truly have. So that's why the breaking condition is such an important pillar. Healthy terrain coincides with that, because at the end of the day, your body is your temple. That is the foundation of who you are. And that is not just what you put inside your body, but it's also the toxicity or the lack of toxicity that you're around, the choices that you make, the people that you're around, creating those boundaries, making sure that you are nourishing yourself with the proper diet. All those things matter. Asking yourself the simple, basic question: is this for the betterment of me, or is this not for the betterment of me? Basics, simple philosophy there. Oneness, learning to love yourself, understanding who you are, being connected to yourself, understanding your worth, understanding the behaviors to get you from a point of a low self-esteem to actually appreciating yourself. And then spirituality, taking all those three things and taking it to the next level. How can I connect on a much deeper level outside of the 3D consciousness into 5D consciousness, and whatever path that may take you, towards, being a psychic, being a channel, being a medium, whatever the case it may be, taking all those things and ultimately tapping into your true power, your true connection in whatever form or fashion that is.
Stepping fully into yourself and realizing what gifts and talents that you have to share, for sure. Could you tell us or give us an example of someone that you've taken through the 4 pillars and how it's changed their lives?
Yeah, myself, number one. But we've talked about me enough, right? So I've coached people into the pillars. My book is about 30% done on the 4 pillars, so I'm working on that now. Deshaun as well is going through the 4 pillars. He just went vegetarian in the last few months. He may have said that on your podcast, but that's a big part of his growth as well. And not saying that you can't achieve these things without by eating meat. That's not what I'm saying. It's just a part of his journey, and everybody's journey is different. But I've worked with a lot of people. I worked with a friend of mine's wife who was struggling from deep depression and just did not love herself. And a lot of the parts of the pillars are a lot of self audits. You know what I'm saying? Being able to look in the mirror and be transparent and tell somebody who but you've never really confided in, all the things in your life that need to change, you'd like to change, and working throughout those processes. So it's not anything that can happen overnight. Sometimes it takes years, and it's a constant process. I can't say that I 100% live by those 4 pillars every day. I'm growing myself. I'm healing myself, and we all are. Healing and growing is a nonstop process, for your entire lifetime.
Thanks for sharing the fact that this could take years, because if we think about it, yes, as we think about it, we usually start stepping into our enlightenment, our awakening around the 35, 40-year-old time frame. Some people even later than that, maybe 20 years later than that. It's kind of like going through, it's not kind of like, it truly is. We go through Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and then we get to that self-enlightenment, and then there's steps beyond the self-enlightenment. That's where we really not only are in alignment, but now we start reaching out as one. We start serving as one true energy and coming together. So it is a journey, and so many people think, well, I'm going to step into spirituality, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and everything is going to be amazing. And it is amazing, but there are things that we have to look at. And as you said, when we have to look at ourselves And we can look at ourselves from a place of these things that I don't like, or these things that I chose to be my rules or chose to be my truth in the past, isn't you. You're not those things. So in understanding that, we can let go a little bit quicker and a little bit faster. Enlightenment. Tell us your definition of enlightenment.
Honestly, to me, enlightenment is truly understanding who you are. And I know that seems very broad, so I'll dive a little deeper into that. Understanding that everything starts from within, and anything outside of within is an external factor. And external factors, and when you're truly enlightened, external factors have minimal impact on your life. And when you can get to that point, to me, that's true enlightenment, because you see the world differently. Everything in this 3D physical world is set up to make you question yourself, you know, and everything we see and how we're conditioned makes us attached to those external factors, right? But when you can detach yourself from external factors and truly know that everything starts from the core, starts from within, then that's true enlightenment. And wherever that takes you, because it's going to take everybody in a different place.
Isn't that the wonderful and amazing thing about the universe, where we're all completely different and we're all the same?
Yep. We're everything and nothing at the same time.
Which is enlightenment.
Yeah, right.
Excellent.
Sure.
Well, believe it or not, we're at the end of our time. Is there a piece of parting guidance that you would like to share?
Yeah, actually, two things. Number one, and it's just a philosophy that I live by, you know, to everybody out there. If you can't trust everything, you have to question everything. There's no gray area. And that's okay. It's okay to question everything, because that's how we learn and that's how we grow. And the second part is, every decision you make in life, every decision, take it down to the most basic element and most basic principle. Is this for the betterment of me, or is this toxic for me? And if you utilize that in everything you do, you're going to learn so much about yourself, and you're ultimately going to be better off for it, because you're knowing, I mean, everything in society makes things so complicated. They make things so complicated, but it's not. It's very simple. Is this for the betterment of me, or is this toxic for me? And if you live by that, I guarantee you're going to see better results.
Straightest direction, fastest path. RL, thank you so much for showing us that you were willing to question everything. Yes. And you were willing to step into finding you and finding your truth and finding your direction, because you are making a difference now. And I know you're going to continue to make a big difference in our world. And we need people like you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on. This has been really fun. Thank you.
Oh, and I'm sure I'll have you back. We always end too early with so much to talk about. So I'm sure we'll be back together many different times. Let me ask you this, RL, how can people get in touch with you, learn more about you?
Yeah, well, first, you can go to, you can check out our streaming service, Akasha Flix. That's www.akashaflix.com. And that's our streaming platform, where we have over 100 videos, new content every week, from exclusive podcasts, masterclass, spiritual videos, and just a plethora of content to help you on this path to enlightenment. Everything from conversations about spirituality to mindfulness, love, relationships, the whole gamut. And for anyone who's listening to this, if you use the promo code HEALING, it'll give you 50% off the annual subscription. Usually $99.99 for the entire year. It's only $49.99. You can't beat that. So definitely take advantage, and you get a 7-day free trial as well to check it out. I'm on all social media platforms, at RL Malpica on Instagram, at RL Malpica on Twitter, and the same thing on Facebook, and then Akasha Flix as well, at Akasha Flix on all the handles as well.
So I'll make sure all that information is available on RL's show page. Just go to themiracleu.com, look for our RL's show page. That information will be there for you. RL, thanks again for being with us today. We surely appreciate who you are and how you're showing up in the world.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Vince.
On behalf of my wife, Mary, who's also my business partner, the entire team here at Imagine Miracles, we want to wish each and every one of you a miracle day.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleu.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 Mind Awakening Steps Toward Your Unique Purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleu.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.